Hello, Edible Gardens Everywhere with Jennifer Denapa of Okewinge Pueblo. Welcome to our presentation. I'm Siobhan Hancock with the New Mexico Department of Health, Obesity, Nutrition, and Physical Activity Program. This presentation focuses on the policy, system, environmental change efforts at Okewinge Pueblo in northern New Mexico, and our focus will be on gardens and how to start small gardens in your community. ONAPA works on population health in 10 counties and 3 tribal communities in New Mexico. We utilize policy, system, environmental approaches that support healthy eating and physical activity behavior becoming part of the social and cultural framework of the counties and tribal communities that we work in. Our efforts reach ECEs, Head Starts, elementary schools, adults, families, and elderly populations. Okewinge Pueblo is one of the tribal communities that Healthy Kids, Healthy Communities partners with, and Jennifer Denapa is the Healthy Kids coordinator for Okewinge Pueblo. She's had particular success in gardens, so we'll share that with you today. But at first, we'll talk a little bit about her PSC work. Jennifer graduated from Northern New Mexico College in 2017 with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Environmental Science and a focus on sustainable agriculture. Agriculture's been her passion as long as she can remember because she believes that plants and humans share a special connection which is vital to our health. As a tribal member of Okewinge, she envisions revitalizing agriculture in her Pueblo community with the goal of achieving food sovereignty. She believes sustainable farming of indigenous local foods and healthy living, together with Tewa language and tradition, connect and contribute to who Okewinge are as Native people. As a mother, Jennifer believes it's important for Pueblo youth to develop healthy habits centered around better eating and more physical activity in order for them to become successful adults and break away from obesity and other health problems that many Indigenous people face today. She's encouraged by the knowledge that her work in the schools and community help Pueblo members on their journey to healthier living. In addition to her passion for agriculture and healthy living, she's a traditional and contemporary artist who makes traditional clothing for ceremonies. Jennifer also does beadwork, jewelry making, wood carving, painting, and willow basket making. She says, I believe as Native people, the path to healthy living honors our traditions and ways of life, and our diet should reflect that. Thank you, Jennifer, for sharing your passion with us today. So, Jennifer, tell us a little bit about the policy systems and environmental work you're doing in the Pueblo.
Thank you, Siobhan, for the introduction. First of all, we tried something in our school, our Okewinge Community School, and it's called Recess Before Lunch. So the purpose of this was to reduce food waste and to also improve the behavior of the students while they're eating lunch and when they go back to the classroom. So one of the issues that we had when we first starting this, and we started this at the beginning of the school year for 2019, was just switching that time frame around, which was fairly easy. I mean, it was just switching one time for another, and it was equal, and it turned out to be very easy for the teachers and for the kitchen staff to do. So that was basically our main issue. And then from there, what we did is we observed the changes in their eating and also their drinking their milk. So we observed that they were throwing away less food and throwing away less milk. So we observed this for about 21 days, and the kitchen staff really liked the way that this sort of worked out at the beginning of the school year, and that they were able to see visually these changes, that there was a lot less food and milk being wasted, which was good on their end, because now they're seeing also within the lunchroom that the kids' behavior was improved, because when they come in from recess, you know, they're settling down and they're really hungry and they eat all their food. So they're much more or less playful and yelling and shouting. There was less of that going on in the lunchroom, which is super easy for the teachers at that point when you know, they're watching over the kids while they're eating. And also when they go back to the classroom after they've had lunch, they're a lot more calm. They're not so jittery. They're not bouncing off the walls because they're, you know, coming down from, you know, playtime. So this was something that was a really positive impact on the school system, that we were able to include, that will be continued on in the future, for our students.
And healthy eating in the community has a policy or system change?
So healthy eating, in our classrooms, what I do is usually once a month I go and I feature a fruit or vegetable of the month. One of the vegetables that I've used, which is pretty underused altogether, is cabbage. So I do like a little pamphlet on the nutritional facts about cabbage and how it affects your body. And then I also show the plant part of it. So the growth cycle of the cabbage and also what it looks like. And that there are two kinds, they're the red and they're the green. And we also did a red and green, you know, benefits versus the benefits of the green. So it was kind of interesting to see that there's a little bit of a difference there. And also what I include in these pamphlets is a recipe of something that I make for them that day, where we try a tasting, and that way they see there's more different ways that you could use fruits or vegetables, healthy wise, and that kind of changed the taste a little, and you know, and try something new. And so I include this recipe into our pamphlet, and I also include some fun facts for the kids, things that they may have not known about the plant, where it came from, you know, who grew the biggest one, like fun little things like that, and things that they can share with their parents and take home and get excited about. And also one of the most important parts to that pamphlet is incorporating our native language, which is the Tewa language. So I work with the Tewa language instructor to incorporate certain phrases and the words associated with that fruit or vegetable, and naming it, because not all fruits and vegetables do we have names for. So we have to be creative and come up with a name for this fruit or vegetable if we don't have a name for it. And then also doing these phrases that incorporate body parts and other things, so that we're getting all these things together, and all these different aspects of the nutrition and also the traditional side, and bringing it all together within the classroom. And then also taste wise, so they get to taste this recipe that they're seeing how it's made, and what the instructions are, and that they can take home and tell their parents. And I get this a lot from them, is that, oh, we're taking this home and we're going to share with the parent. We want my mom to buy all the stuff so we can go and cook it, because this is so good. And then also transferring that into the cafeteria. So I share all these recipes with the cafeteria staff and tell them, you know what, most of the kids liked this tasting. You know, if you want to increase their fruit or vegetables in the cafeteria, this is a good recipe to use, because we found that the kids really like it. So kind of making use of also that time of tasting, and then getting the kids feedback on if they like it, they don't like it, or what they did or didn't like about it, and really incorporating that into the school system and cafeteria, and also to the garden. And it can also tie into there by using, you know, some of the different things, like, oh, we should grow this in our school garden. And so we can get the seeds and stuff, and have them put that in their garden, and then they can take that, something that they grow, and incorporate it into the food that they eat or the snacks that they have during the day.
Can you tell us a little bit about healthy eating in the community, activities you've had at the library, the Elder Center, or in the community garden?
So we also do the same tastings at what we call the adult coloring night at the library. So I'll go in and I'll take a pamphlet as well that has the recipes and certain nutritional facts and even the table language as well, because it's all our community people that are going to this adult coloring class. So I'll go in and I'll make them their whatever it is that we're doing. Like one time I made hummus. I made 3 different types of hummus, and we kind of did a taste test on each kind. And I was asking them, you know, which kind do you guys prefer? And gave them the recipes for those. And then we've also played diabetes bingo, and this was in partnership with the Wellness and Diabetes Center. So with their nurse, Sharon, so we both went in and we did this diabetic bingo, which is pretty interesting because some of them are diabetic patients and some weren't. So it was kind of interesting to see which one kind of knew different things about it. And it was interesting to see how they kind of interacted, and they really liked it. Especially we played one with different fruits and vegetables where you describe it and they have to guess it. So they really had fun with that. And it's all about finding these unique and fun ways to educate them and kind of bring up these conversations about diabetes and about the things that we eat that really help promote healthy eating in the community. And at the senior center too, finding recipes. We did a recipe that was a healthier way to make our traditional cookies, and kind of introducing that thought and that conversation, you know, just changing, you know, just a couple of things within that recipe to make it a little more healthier for you to eat, and then showing them how it is that you do that and making them comfortable for them to do this. So it would actually take shorter time to make these cookies than it would the original way, which is good for the elders because they get tired with their hands. So that was something that I kind of brought up. You know, you're not putting too much stress on your hands when you are making these cookies, you know, that are a little more easier and a lot more healthier for you. So it's kind of like promoting it in small ways and making these small changes and introducing it to the community in these little unique ways that really get them to make these healthy changes slowly. And, you know, over time, after you've made several changes, you notice that, wow, you made a lot of changes. So I think it's pretty exciting that we get to doing that in the community.
So tell us a little bit about Okayewinge Community School and your work there.
So this is a picture of our some of our students with the kindergarten teacher at Okayewinge Community School, and they're doing their grow boxes. So they have several grow boxes, and we give them seeds and supplies and everything they need to really bring that plant science into the classroom. And then they get to see, you know, seeds go from, you know, the seed state all the way to maturity, and then when you actually pick the actual fruit or vegetable, and then they get to taste it in the classroom. So you bring that full circle of learning right there in the class, and then they get to see it and taste it. And it's really interesting to see how the kids really like it. They like to get in the dirt, they like to get dirty, they like to play around with the seeds, and you know, and then they're learning how to do these things so that when they go home, they kind of encourage the parents and their siblings, well, let's do a garden. And so we're seeing, you know, this whole promotion of traditional farming and stuff going on within our community, that we're really pushing and promoting these kids to learn about plants because it's important, and plants are all around us, and this is where we get a lot of our food. and that the food just doesn't come from the fast food place. It actually comes from a farm, and this is how we get all our vegetables and all our nourishment from. And then also we have different things that we do with the kids. One of them is 5210. So this is where we have the kids do 5 fruits or vegetables, 1 hour less of screen time, um, and drink more water. And this is where we kind of push that on them, is to make these little healthy changes within the school. And of course the teachers follow along with that. They drink a lot of water, encourage the kids to drink a lot of water and watch less TV and do a lot more physical activity in class and at home. So they're also doing like little warm-ups within the classroom. When they take a break, they get up and they do jumping jacks, and or they do run in place or something like that, to kind of keep them, active throughout the day. And then allowing them to have water bottles or take water breaks and stuff like that, and really really promoting these healthy habits that we want them to pick up and then continue on as they go through the grades.
So can you tell us a little bit about healthy fundraising at the school?
So we have this little girl here. She is holding one of our famous fruit smoothies. So these have been introduced to the school. It's just very simple ingredients. It's non-milk, so we have your frozen fruit and almond milk and a little bit of agave nectar, and that's it. If it needs it. If you don't need it, if it's sweet enough, then we don't use it. So it's just those simple ingredients. And what we did with that was they wanted to have a sale at our annual powwow at the school. So we kind of got all our blenders out and got everything together, and it was kind of fun, getting with the CHR program along with the Diabetes and Wellness Center. And all these volunteers got together and got their blenders out, and we all started making these fresh fruit smoothies, and seeing these little kids dragging in their parents and their aunties and their grandmas and telling them they have smoothies, and they were kind of like, let's go eat, let's go get one of these. And so it was kind of fun to see them wanting to try these things and wanting their family to get involved and try these healthy snacks and all these other changes. They say we really like these, and we like the different flavors, and so kind of leaning more towards those kind of healthy fundraisers as opposed to like a bake sale or a candy sale, and showing that you can make just as much money doing fresh fruit smoothies as you would a bake sale. And so we kind of prove that, and show them that they should be leaning more towards a healthier way of fundraising. And we also did a glow run. So we sponsored this glow run and had it at our wellness center track, and it was in the evening time, and it was very nice because it was around Halloween time. So we had everybody dress up, everybody had all their costumes on, and they kind of had fun with it, and they ran the track. And then by pulling in these other programs, Diabetes and Wellness Center being one of the main programs that I work with all the time, suggested that we do a dance right afterwards, just to increase physical activity. So that's what we did. Right after the run, we had the kids go to a dance, and so they really got active. And we also had our Zumba instructor, Anna, taking the kids around in a dancing train, and they really had fun with it. And they also sold water and different little snacks there, at a concession stand. So they actually made quite a bit of money off of just that one event. So they didn't have to do so many little bake sales or candy sales throughout the year. They had these major healthy fundraisers that pretty much got them the money that they needed for the year. So there wasn't, they didn't have to have all these other small bake sales. So that was showing, you know, moving towards more of the healthier one. They can still make the money they need.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer, for sharing that. And so you've told us a little bit about the policies and system changes in Ohkay-Wingay Pueblo. Let's move on to the gardens. I know that happens to be your favorite project in the Pueblo. So let's move on to environmental changes in the gardens.
Yes, that happens to be my favorite, of course. So this is a picture of our general assistance volunteers and also just community volunteers working on our shade house at our community garden. So the environmental changes that we like to see in our community are bringing back more of our traditional gardening. So we incorporated many different gardens within our tribe. So we have our community garden, we have grow boxes at the senior center, at the wellness center, at the CHR actually requested to have grow boxes, just small ones, so that they can get started. And so we have all these little gardens all over our community that we helped foster and help give advice and help get materials and things like that. And so at this main garden here, it's all about bringing community together, bringing different people together, and having them work towards a goal. And that goal being, you know, to feed or to offer produce to as many people as we can. So that's exactly what we did in our community garden. And so this is all going back to that environmental change, is just starting with all these gardens everywhere we can. So just kind of bringing that tradition of food sovereignty and seed saving and really getting people motivated and kind of getting them back into it and letting them know that a lot of things that I hear from people is that, well, I don't have a green thumb. But it's really not about having a green thumb. It's just knowing more of knowing the rules, or, you know, all these little tips that will help you be successful with gardening. You know, I think that's kind of why we lost a lot of it, is because people have tried to have gardens, but they failed and they didn't really know why. So through this way, you know, having these gardens, I'm there to actually teach them, and they ask questions. And so I answer the questions as best as I can and try to give them the reasoning why things failed or why they did good, and sort of promoting gardening and getting them back into it, and getting people to see that it's something that everybody can do, that you just need to know the rules. So this here is a picture of our first hoop house. So this was built by this team here, and they were all volunteers. They came and they built this hoop house from the ground up, and they're very proud of what they did, and it's still standing today, and it has several grow boxes inside of it, and it's still being utilized for a lot of herbs and carrots and different things that we use not only at the wellness center, but we've taken stuff to the school and things like that. So this has started for about 5 years ago. So this was before my time. But since then, there has been a second hoop house built right next to it. So this one's the pink hoop house, and we have the turquoise hoop house. And then a third one was built at the Head Start by request, because they're really into farming. There's a lot of people there that really want the kids to learn how to do this type of farming and to be able to see things grow. So that's pretty exciting. So all this is always ongoing. And here we have our kids playing a game at our community garden. So this is a kind of game that we just kind of came up with out of the blue, between me and the table language instructor. Um, we posted all the English words to the crops, where they're found at, so they know which crop is which. And so they have to go and cover the English word with the table word, for that crop. So they had to have been studying the entire week all their crops. So this was kind of fun seeing the kids running around in their little teams to, put the words on, and kind of, troubleshooting and be like, oh no, no, that's not the one. So it was kind of fun to see them running around and not only, being able to recall, their language, but getting out there and actually seeing the crops, how they're growing, right there in the garden. So that was, kind of fun. And also a summer program with the library, they also did a garden. And so they were learning how to pull the weeds out and really take care of their garden, and as well as planting it and watering it, and doing all the things that are required to make your garden successful. And so here we have our friends of the garden. We have our toad hiding under one of our melons, and this toad was hanging around a lot, and we're thankful to have, our friends like that eat the bugs and sing us songs when it rains, and also our bees for pollinating. And we also have our pests, the ones that, the bugs that eat everything, but we try to take care of those as natural as we can. And a lot of times what I tell people is, try not to use poisons or anything like that. Try to do things as natural as you can, and doing a little bit of research, and also asking your elders, asking people, asking your farmers in the community, how they take care of pests, and how they're able to, get the most out of their garden without having these pests decimate it. So, and as I said, we do have our volunteers, which we find within our community. A lot of them are general assistants, but then we do have some that just want to come and learn, how to do gardening and how to harvest, and when to tell things are ripe and things like that. And I think it's important to get, all different, people in here to the gardens to really help, because each one of them can play a different role. Like, we've had one of our volunteers who, had diabetes and had all these other health issues that really couldn't be out there pulling weeds, but he offered, prayers and other advice, traditional wise, and also, giving us water when we took a water break and things like that. So I thought it was really cool that, he was out there and he was able to do that job. And then I had someone else who couldn't bend, who just hold the bag open while we throw in all the harvest, from the field. So it was kind of interesting to see how everybody had their little job, and how everybody kind of pitched in and things got done a lot faster. So it was really cool to have that kind of community setting where everybody just gets together, gets in there, and does whatever it is they want to do. And then they get to take this yummy produce home, and eat more vegetables and drink more water and get more physical activity and get a tan. All these things that we really want to promote in our community, as well as doing all these, food systems and built environments around gardens and stuff like that. So we want to make sure that people, feel like they can do this on their own, that they can garden on their own, as well as come and help garden. So I think it's been a journey for them too. And also, taking all this stuff and distributing it out to the community, to the senior center, giving them chili and giving them, tomatoes and things like that, stuff that we usually cook traditionally. So, and then having them, know where it came from, and that all these volunteers got together and, provided this for them is important. And, and taking it to the tribal council and also making a lot of this produce available for our traditional dances and things like that, um, I think really promote agriculture in our tribe and bring it back. So we really want people to um, look at these small food systems and small gardens everywhere and feel like they could do that, and sort of and reach out to our farmers in the community and ask them these questions and not be afraid to try things. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then we could work it out and make it work. So I think that's really important. So
So
what
Jennifer, let's move on to how to build a small edible garden. Our time is passing and we'd like to share this important material.
So you want to be a resource, or you want to find one, someone who can provide seeds, tips, information, gather up people who can do work, or in the school setting, it would be teachers. And one of the biggest things is to have a plan. So have a plan and start small. I mean, there's nothing more discouraging than dead plants, obviously. But I mean, anybody can grow a garden. So just make a plan of what you want to do and start it very small, and then you can grow from there. Find the right place, know your elevation, your growing window, your right sunshine, water availability, all this comes into play, and kind of tailor that to your small garden, and then and work with that and find what works for you. Not something that you've seen before, maybe that might not work for you, but tailor it to the resources and your plan, and choose a method. So you can do mound, waffle garden, raised bed. um, you can do things in your windowsill, um, but you can start very simply. So just choose a method and stick with it, and continue on. And then get proper materials that fit your space, such as your grow box containers, um, and find your soil, your seeds, and your water source, and make sure that everything will fit in your space, allow space for your plants, allow space for you to water, and kind of use all these things to your advantage. And like I said, just keep it small at first so that you don't get overwhelmed. And then always ask for help. There's several resources available. One of the biggest resource that I know of is your county ag extension agent. So that person can definitely help you, and doing your own research as well. I mean, if you have questions, do some research, and you will find answers. And also ask your elders in your community. A lot of them have farmed or have farmed with their parents, and so it's a really good resource to go and ask the farmers of your community about all these things. And that way you have as much help as possible.
So let's talk about, for example, New Mexico's at 7,000 feet, and just making sure you have all your information. And different ways here, we're talking about different ways to raise funds to build your garden.
So yeah, ways that you can raise funds, to build your garden, like we did with the school. You can do these healthy fundraisers. You can also go and ask for donations. Another good way, an untapped way, is to go around and ask your neighbors for all their unused wood and stuff that's lying around, recyclable stuff, reuse, recycle, a lot of materials. I mean, it all comes into handy. We do that a lot. I do that a lot personally. I use a lot of recycled wood and things like this for grow boxes. So all these things, and get together with people. You never know who knows somebody who could possibly donate stuff. So kind of getting out there and networking too is a good way to get materials. And seeds are of most importance. So you want to use local indigenous seeds if you can. You want to make sure they're non-GMO. So you want to always do a little bit of research before you get your seeds. A really good seed source that I've used is Native Seed Search. So they usually have community seed grants or individual grants for tribal members. So these are really good. That's a really good resource to get seeds from. And Tasuki Farms also has seeds and all these other seed exchange events that happen all over. Attend them and get seeds and trade them if you have them, so that you put in and barter and get all these seeds going, and that way you have your own seed stock and save seeds from the plants that you grow. And gathering supplies and support for all your garden efforts. You want to make sure that you have your plan and everything's gathered, and you can always get stuff donated from like a local nursery, or like I said before, ask your county ag agent, and make sure you're doing things sustainably, making sure that your watering methods are as sustainable as possible, only watering when is necessary and at the right times of the day. So you want to make sure to keep that in mind and always be conscious of your water and not using poisons and stuff like that for pests.
Thank you, Jennifer. We've run out of time, and I'd like to make sure that we acknowledge some of our special friends, Department of Health, and the Diabetes Prevention and Control Program, as well as Obesity, Nutrition, and Physical Activity. These are different sites as well. Native Seed Search has provided seeds to Ohkay-Wingay Pueblo to use in their gardens, and they're a very important partner of ours. And we'd like to thank all the volunteers who help plant, water, and nurture the gardens in Ohkay-Wingay Pueblo. Thank you. Some of our resources, this slide and the next slide will cover the resources that are available for you. And this will be available on the website after this session. And then some of our local resources, such as Tewa Women United and Sustainable Food and Seed Sovereignty Symposium. That's the Tasuki Pueblo biannual seed exchange. And then Sally Cassidy is a food systems specialist, and that's just a fancy title for someone who will help you build and design your garden and make sure that you can get the resources you need. She's she works from the Cooperative Extension Services program at the Department of Ag. And then last but not least, if you'd like to contact Jennifer or myself at Department of Health and provide any feedback or information or need information, please feel free to contact us. We're very happy that you could join us today, and we wish you happy growing and many little gardens in your life. Thank you.